Happy New Year.
What have you made of Corey's season? Obviously, he's been asked to punt a lot, just given the circumstances of the offense this year. But I think he finished top 10 in fan voting amongst punters. What have you thought of the season?
I think Corey's had a good year. I think that he's improved in a number of areas. I think his directional placement has definitely improved. I think he's shown that he's been able to have much better control than he had last year in the plus 50. Um, so he's done a good job with us being able to create field position for our defense in those types of situations.
Is that just a byproduct of, obviously, it's a byproduct of the work he's put in? But
Yeah.
what else, was there anything he specifically changed during the off season, coming into this season?
No, that was it was a big, I would say, point of emphasis for us heading into last off season, and I felt like we missed on some opportunities last year in those areas of the field, and I think that he did a good job. He really applied, himself and did a good job with the practice reps, and I would say we hit more of those plus 50 balls throughout the spring training camp, and then obviously into the season.
So we can use on kick returns. It looks like Ford End up here strong.
You have to watch the game on Saturday to see. We have a lot of options. Yep.
But you expecting to not have either of those guys?
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Uh, Similarly, what do you make of Dustin's season? And do you just chalk it up to a tough year? And just how do you think he has handled the difficulty that he's had to deal with?
Yeah, I think he's handled it. I would say in a professional manner. I think that he's doing everything he can to get it right. Has hit the ball well the last few weeks, and obviously we had one opportunity last week that he converted on, which was good. But have a lot of confidence in him moving forward in being our kicker. So I think that obviously it's been an inconsistent season for him.
With Mike Vrabel leaving now, how valuable was it to have him in the building all year?
We talked for a while the other day. I'm gonna really miss him. Obviously he was like a big brother to me as whenever I was a young player in New England, and then obviously being able to cross paths again here, it was great to have him around. I obviously have a ton of respect for him. He's an incredible football mind. Whoever ends up hiring that guy is getting an incredible person, former player, and hell of a coach. So I love Mike, and I'll miss him.
Overall, Bubba, how would you compare your special teams this year to last year?
I would, every season's different. The personnel you have is, different in most seasons. This was a younger group than we had last year. And obviously the new kickoff return play throws a completely different wrinkle into the results you're going to see. And I would say this overall, it wasn't up to my standard. The units that I've coached, we haven't played to the level that I expect our units to play at. So we got to do a better job of coaching and executing.
You mentioned that kickoff rule. Do you think it sticks, and what tweaks could we see next year?
Yeah, I think it'll stick. I think it's brought some excitement. There's definitely been a higher return rate. I don't know exactly what the numbers are right off the top, but I think that it'll stick. I think that there will definitely be some tweaks. I could see potentially moving the touchback even further up the field to the 35. That would generate more returns, and I could even see them potentially moving the ball back to the 30-yard line to eliminate the junk ball type kicks. Because I think the play is definitely cleaner when the ball is in the air and not on the ground. And if you want to see returns, then you're not incentivizing putting the ball on the ground. Me personally, I don't like the rule that, I'll definitely say this on the record, I do not like the rule of the ball hitting the ground and rolling through the end zone and a touchback going to the 20-yard line. To me, that doesn't incentivize returns. That incentivizes valuing a guy that can play soccer. So to me, that's not, if you want returns, then, kick the ball in the air and have the guys force the returns.
The kind of minute punting question. When you do have a situation where you're punting more kind of backed up in your own territory or in the end zone, is it like intuitively that you would expect a lesser hang time on those kicks just because you're trying to like flip the field, or is it kind of like is that a different situation than obviously like when you're in plus 50 and you're trying to?
Yeah, it depends on the area of the field, how far backed up you are, and it depends on the type of returner you're going against. Also, that's going to factor in the type of ball that we're going to hit. There's often times where, like, if you're backed up inside like your own 5-yard line, you're going to have to operate a little bit faster because there's not as much. You typically align like 14.5 to 15 yards, snap to the punter. The ball's on the 2-yard line. You don't have as much space. So you have to work faster, and you're probably not going to hit as good of a ball when you're backed up like that and having to operate that much faster. So.
I mean, across the board throughout the league this year, it just seemed like there were more blocked kick attempts. I mean, you guys obviously had the one in Philly. Just what do you think that is with that trend this year?
You know what? I'm not sure. I would say that there's definitely, I think some of the schemes have been, pretty, I would say executed well. Some teams have gotten away with some, I would say, not dirty type play, but there's been some things where you see teams like, I don't know if you've seen this on the field goal block unit, but teams are like grabbing offensive linemen's arms and like pulling them out. And when you do that, it creates space and a gap. Sometimes the officials see it. A lot of times they don't. I know a number of teams have, been able to come up with blocks as a result of those plays. I know New Orleans has done it. And we warned the officials before we played them about that. And a lot of other teams have done it as well. So we have not done it.
It seems like Justin Tucker has gotten himself back on track, and does that maybe inform what could happen with Dustin?
Yeah, I hit on that, I want to say last week or maybe the week before that, it's, to me, that's a good thing for any kicker that has had some struggles, is to see, obviously he's the best in the game, in my opinion, right now, Justin Tucker as like a kicker. And to obviously have had a little bit of a struggle mid-season and then being able to self-correct and apply it and hit the ball well, he's one of the best of all time, and yeah, I think it's a good thing.
Evaluate how Rex did coming in, just taking over for Charlie, and obviously him being around the team when he was here in the off season. But how did he do this year?
Yeah, I thought he did a good job. I think that it's in that position, it's hard to come in mid-season when you're not getting as many reps. Obviously, we had Rex in training camp, so that was beneficial for us to have gotten him reps back then. But being thrown into the mix right away, going against some good teams with good personnel, I think he's done a good job.
This is not a knock on Rex, but how come you guys never went back to Charlie Hewitt?
I mean, he's on it. He's got an injury, so.
He said he's fine.
I mean, he might be feeling fine, but he might not be fun to play football. There's a difference. Thanks.
I think it's the last time I might be talking to you before the season ends. Just how would you describe this experience in Cleveland this first year? Obviously, the on-field success maybe not being what you all envisioned, but just how do you kind of parse the season, and maybe what things didn't really go your way in terms of the offense?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously the biggest thing is just didn't win enough games, and at the end of the day, that comes down to scoring enough points to do it. You gotta figure out a way to at least score one more, and obviously we gotta do that more, and wasn't something that we expected and anticipated, but you go through these times. It's like life. You get punched in the gut sometimes in life, and for us it's going to be not about anything else than how you respond. You got to respond in life, you got to respond in ball, and we're going to have to do that this week and then moving forward in the future. So it's kind of put in perspective for me a lot. Went through some watching some of my immediate family kind of go through some stuff this year, and how she handled it, through, going through a situation, cancer diagnosis and everything like that, and just how she was able to handle that and really be strong through the pain she was having through the treatments and things like that. It really gave me a perspective about what fighting's all about and and how important that is. And it really gave me a perspective, and not to get on a soapbox here, but anybody who's going through that, just keep fighting, and fight and get through it. Because seeing it firsthand, that was a first for me, and put a lot of things in perspective about, one, how strong she is, but also, how strong you've got to be in life, and how strong we'll have to be as a football team moving forward. And that's going to be the expectation that I have for this unit moving forward, this week and into future years.
Not that we're writing about it, but how is she doing now?
Good, yeah, really good, thank you. Yeah, so it's you guys know those things are processes that you gotta get through, and so we're early in the stage of treatments, but getting through it.
Again, DTR was pretty hard on himself after both of the games. He just looks really shaken. What can you do to salvage anything for him?
No, look, I mean, he's a young player, and these are early games that he's starting, and with every single rep you take in this league, especially game action, you're going to learn, and he's going to learn and continue to grow. And I believe that with him. He's got an incredible work ethic. He's got an incredible drive and determination. Great skill set. He's just got to keep working and get better every single day, every single rep he gets. So I think we just got to continue to work at it, continue to grind, and he's going to grow as a player with all these reps. And like any player, you're going to be disappointed if you don't perform up to the standard in which you set for yourself, and you want that from a player because you want that drive. You want him to feel like, okay, I can be better than this, because he's going to keep working to go get it. So we're going to keep working with him and making sure that we're doing everything we can to put him in position to make sure he's growing as a player.
Every week we'd ask you about, various issues with the offense or whatever, but now that you're in the final week, just why was this so tough to fix? And, do you have a pretty good idea of what it's going to take to fix it for next season?
That's a really good question. I think in terms of next season, I think there's going to be a great evaluation, in the offseason, of looking at, okay, here's what we got to do better. Here's where, here's the things we've got to fix moving forward. And a lot of it's just going to come down to just our consistency. You see flashes of it, and we've just got to make sure that we're playing at a level we are capable of playing on a consistent basis. No matter what, if that's a new concept, an old concept, anything like that. So at the end of the day, we're going to go through those processes in the off season. We're going to evaluate everything to make sure that we're putting our guys in the right position to be successful. And I think that's going to be an important part of the off season. And when these guys come in, they're going to be ready to roll in terms of, hey, here's what we're going to do to fix this, to make sure that we're operating at a high level and one of the top offenses in the league.
Some uncertainty about just how the franchise, the team is going to move forward in the offseason, but have you spoken to Kevin about returning next year, and would you like to return? Obviously,
I'm just focused on this week. Yeah, that's my focus. We'll cross those bridges, next week.
Had to call upon Jameis Winston for this week. Do you feel like his shoulder would be able to handle it?
Yeah, I think it's continuing to get better, and I think yesterday was a walkthrough practice, so we'll evaluate that kind of today, tomorrow, to make sure in these full speed practices, to make sure that he's able to operate at a level that he can do it throwing the football, and I think he's been close in the previous weeks. We'll just continue to operate that as we go here.
Joel said he doesn't know if he's going to retire at this season or not. What's it been like for you coaching him this year, and Just what kind of a level is he still playing at?
Yeah, I mean, he's been an anchor for us, and just in there all the time. I mean, shoot, the amount of snaps he has this season, and I think he's leading the league in number of snaps in the season, I believe. So in the NFL, so he's still playing at a high level, and he's a smart, tough, dependable football player, and that's what you look for in offense. Is we want players who are smart, tough, and dependable, and that's embodied in his DNA. So very fortunate to have him, and obviously I think he was definitely playing at a high level this year.
Said Tillman, what do you feel like the outlook is like for Said going forward?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's unfortunate having had him, available the past few weeks. Have been good opportunities for him to continue to grow as a football player. So I think the big thing for him is going to be getting the work in, getting back once he's healthy, and picking up really where he left off, because I thought he was ascending in a really positive direction. Unfortunately, he had the injury, the setback there. Guys have really kind of stepped up in his stead, but he did a lot for us from blocking, receiving, a lot of different things, can tack vertically underneath, win on quick routes. So I think the ceiling's very high for him as he continues to grow as a football player.
Watch DTR on some of those like second level throws where you got to kind of lob over the guy. Does he have to get better in that area? Sometimes it looks like everything comes out kind of the same trajectory.
Yeah. I think obviously guys with that type of arm talent, which I never really had to worry about too much, but guys like that, I think that's a growing curve, because sometimes stronger arm guys want to see it open and then fire it in there. Now, I do think he has that ability to do that, and it's just a comfort level for him. And again, that's a growth. When I was here with DA, he was a guy of strong arms, see it open, fit in tight windows and those types of things. When I played with him here, when I coached him in Carolina, his mentality completely changed to an anticipator and laying it in windows and throwing those in cuts 5 yards before they even come out breaks and those types of things. So that's a growth that these guys will have, and I think Dorian's growing in that regard, and I think you see flashes of it, and it'll continue to grow for him, like a lot of these guys who have the arm talent that he has. All right, thank you guys.